Hey everyone, welcome back. This is the part 3 of the push messages videos. In this one I'm going to talk about the way to send the push subscription to your server, and also how to send a new push messages from your backend. So if you like this video or if you enjoy it, then don't forget to click the like button, and let's go ahead and take a look what I prepared for this one. So in this video I'm going to talk about the way to send and receive the push subscription object to your server, also to handle the push events in your service worker, and to display the push messages in the browser. So the first thing I want to talk about is basically to sending the push subscription object that you received from the push service to your backend. And here you can see that I'm creating a function which basically takes our push subscription object, and I'm making a fetch API request of the method of post. So I'll be posting this object to our API. So here you can see that I'm assigning to our body our push subscription object, and then I'm assigning the .then if we get a response from the server. If the response isn't the type of OK, so if the response isn't the type of 200, then I'm giving an error, and otherwise I'm just giving whatever the response is from the server. And if the response, the data isn't the type of success, then I'm giving an error that we get a bad response from our server, so that there was something wrong on the side of our server. So again, I'm taking the push subscription object and I'm creating an fetch call of method of post to our server, and so in this way we can send our push subscription object of our user to the server. And so how would you basically receive this object in the server? So here you can see that I'm creating a simple Express app in the Node.js. So here I'm basically requiring the Express. Here I'm creating the app. So I'm accessing the Express method, and here I'm I'm listening to the post events or the request on our server in this URL, and as a callback I'm just passing a function, and if the body exists on the post request, then I'm assuming that we have our save subscription to database function, which will save the object to our database, and we can also assume that this function will give it a promise back. So I'm basically handling this promise with .then and .catch, and whatever the message we get back from this function, I'm just sending a response to our browser with the success message. And if there was an error, then I'm just sending the status of 500 with an error message that there wasn't a problem. So this is a simple way to save the push subscription object, and so here you can see that from the moment that we get the push subscription object to our database, we are basically able to create an authorization header and then pass in our message and our public and private keys and send it to our push service, which will then decrypt the header, check if the URL endpoint is the same with the URL endpoint of our user, and if it is, then it will send the message to their browser. So there are some useful, I would say, libraries that you can use to build your own push message, basically to implement this push messages. So the first one will be the netb, which is similar to MongoDB. If you know what it is, then it is a library to create a database NetBE is basically a lightweight version of the MongoDB. So I will not recommend this for the production-ready application, but you can use it to play around, to make some small applications. And the second one will be the web push library, which allows you to create a rapid case and also send the push messages with the send notification API from the backend. So let me show you how I'll just basically push the new message from the backend. So at the moment when we stored our users push subscription object, we can basically send a new push message to our frontend, right, to our web application. So here you can see that I'm creating a web push value or a variable, and I'm requiring the web push library, and here I'm creating a rapid case which we can create but by accessing the web push object which I created here and accessing the generate rapid case method from this library. And this keys I'm basically passing in to our set rapid details method. So here you can see that I'm passing in our public key and our private key, and I'm also passing mail to option. And so what this does is that if you will send a new push message to the user can click on this email and contacts you to say, hey, this push message isn't I don't like it, or if someone wants to contact you or send it something, then he can access this email. And so here again in our backend, I'm creating or I'm opening the app port to listen on the post request. And so whenever the post request will came to this API, then it will trigger our push message. So as the callback, I'm creating a function with the request and response arguments as a functions. And so again, I'm returning a get push subscription function, which we can assume that we'll get our subscription from the database. And then we can also assume that this function again will give a promise back. So I'm basically handling this promise with that then and that catch. And what we'll get from this function will be an object with all the subscriptions. And so I'm checking if the subscriptions exist. If they are, then I'm creating a new promise, and I'm passing again our response and resolve and the rejected arguments. And for each subscription, I'm basically I'm accessing our web push value, which I call it here from our web push library. And so for each subscription, I'm basically I'm accessing the send notification method on our web push value, which will send a new push message. So as an arguments, I'm passing our subscription and our message that we want to send to our web application or the application of the in the front end. And if there was an error, then I'm just rejecting the promise with a new error message. And I'm also catching the error, so you will have to change the status to 500 and send an error message to your application. So again, I'm accessing the web push library. I'm creating our rapid case with the generate rapid case method. I'm also accessing the set rapid details, and I'm passing in our public key and private key, and also the mail to information for the user to contact you. And I'm listening for the post request to this API, and whenever this method fires, then get all the subscriptions from our database, and for each one I'm sending notification with the subscription and the message that we want. So let's take a look at the way that you can handle this, basically the push events on your front end in your service worker. And so the API for listening for the events or to show the notification is relatively simple. What you have to do is that you have to access the registration object in the service worker, which you can do by calling the self, which is the same as for the normal thread, like that, but because we are in the service worker thread, we have to call the self. So we are calling the register object, and we are calling the method of show notification, in which we are passing the title and the options. And what the options are, here you can see that I'm passing two options: the body, which will be the body of our message, and the icon. And as a value, we can pass the URL of our icon. And so this code will live in our service worker. So I'm accessing, or I'm adding an event listener in our service worker, and I'm listening for the push events. And as a callback function, I'm creating a function. I'm passing an event object, and also on this event object, I'm saying to the browser to wait until all the things that I specified inside an argument, that it has to be done until the service worker can finish his job. So the wait until says to the browser that, hey, everything that is inside of this argument has to be finished first, in order to stop the service worker to working. All right. So I'm just listening to the push events, and whenever the push event comes from our backend, from our server, then I'm accessing the registration object inside the service worker, and I'm calling the show notification method, and I'm passing a title and all the message options that are specified here. There are a lot of options, the message options that you can use. For example, there are visual options, behavioral options, and also some more options. But some of them are just like a body, an icon. Here you can see that I just paste an image from an example message. So here you can see that this is the example message, like it looks like in the browser. So we have our icon, we have our title, we have our body of the message, an image, and we can also add some actions buttons for user to interact with. And it's also worth noting that for each browser and each device or operating system, the message can vary in the way how they look like. So the same message on the Chrome and the Firefox or Opera, they may not look the same on each one of them. So this is one thing that you may want to consider when creating your own push messages. And the last step will be basically if you want to add an option, you can basically check if this particular option exists in the notification prototype. Right. So here I'm just checking if the image exists in the notification API, and if it does exist, then I'm creating the image option. If it's not, then I'm just passing another option, or you may basically disable it. And so this was the last part of the push messages videos. If you like this series, or if you have any questions, then please leave it in the comment section. And I will see you next time. Bye.